I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
And sometimes books.
Join us every Wednesday for a new episode.
We're live.
It's been a bloody minute, haven't it?
I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
Well, we've seen each other loads. It's just we haven't... When was the last time we did this?
The 19th of August.
So, like, we talk about this all the fucking time, and you're probably sick of it, but, like, in the wonderful world of podcasting, we've actually not, like, sat down and recorded properly since the 19th of August.
And today is the 23rd of September.
Wild. Yeah, so we've been doing, well, we had to bulk record because we were both away, then I was away, and there was just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then we've just been doing remote recording because we just haven't been able to, like...
Well, last week's episode was Bookish Babes After Dark, which we just did, like...
remote.
Yeah, via Teams, so we didn't need to be together.
And Bookish Dad, I came to yours.
Yeah, so we were together for that. But before that Wingspan, we did remote.
We did.
Yeah, we've been organised girlies. We haven't sat on the pink sofa for a while.
We haven't. We haven't had a cup of tea and sat down for a while.
We haven't.
So
it's good to be back.
It does feel good to be back, doesn't it? Nice. So we've got like 2 updates that we need to talk about.
Ooh.
First of all, because it's been a bloody minute, we haven't done one of these in ages, but we have some new Patreon subscribers to shout out.
Woo!
Our most recent Patreon subscriber is Talia. So welcome, Talia, to the Patreon gang.
And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so our Patreon at the moment, we say this all the time, but we only have 1 tier right now. So you just get bonus content, a bonus episode every month.
Yeah.
We are thinking of putting up another tier, but TBC, because we might do like an ad-free early access sort of...
Yeah, we might put out just our main channel episodes just without the adverts and things that...
And maybe early, because at the moment we are actually getting them done quite early, so maybe in theory we could start doing that. But thank you for joining and becoming a Wingspan aficionado. That's what our Patreon team is called. Wingspan aficionados.
That means that you are now qualified to comment on people's wingspans. So if you haven't listened to our wingspan draft, go listen to it and tell us who your big wingspans are.
Yeah, so that's one of the updates we had to mention. And the second one is last week's episode, which again in the wonderful world of podcasting has not been released yet, but when you're listening to this it has, which is our collab with Bookish Dad Reads. We had our first ever episode sponsor.
Oh yeah.
The Ink Pages, which actually we're both so stupid. So we followed the Ink Pages for ages because they are the special edition book company that did the special edition versions of The Ever King and The Ever Queen.
Yes.
By Andrews, which you are currently reading, which we'll get to in a second.
Yes.
But as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh, obsessed. And we've been following ever since. Unfortunately, did not manage to get my hands on those copies because they sold out before I could get a copy of them. But we followed them for ages, like big fans. And then we also had a follower on TikTok who like talks to us, engages us all the time, called Chris. What we did not put 2 and 2 together is that Chris is the owner of the Ink Pages.
They are one and the same.
They are one and the same. So we would talk to both of these accounts like
on different platforms. We would talk to Chris on TikTok and we would talk to the Inked Pages on Instagram.
And had no clue that it was the same person.
And then I think she messaged us off the Inked Pages on Instagram.
About sending us,
I said, oh, what's your TikTok? I'll follow you on there too. And she was like, haha, you already are. It's me, Chris. And sent me her TikTok handle. I went onto her TikTok, realised who she was. And I was like, oh my God, we are so stupid.
We are stupid. So we are, thank you so much to Chris for offering to sponsor last week's episode. It was unbelievably kind. And they are in the process. I think the pre-orders are live now. Actually, when this episode go out, so I think the pre-orders has ended.
Anticlimactic.
Sorry, because that's why they sponsored last week's episode, because the pre-orders were ending on the 29th of September. But the next special edition that they're releasing is a Trial of Fate.
Yes.
Which is one of the books that we are doing on our author spotlight.
Yay!
We finally did it.
Well, it was going to be a 2025 thing, wasn't it? We were like,
Yeah.
we'll do it next year. It'll set us up for the year. We can do one a month and we'll do 12. And then
we just kept getting so many requests. And like this is honestly like mind-blowing, but we just kept getting emails saying, please will you talk about my book? And we 99.9% of the time want to say yes.
Yeah, but like obviously because we're both working full time, B is a mum, I'm moving house, we do have to plan in advance. So like when somebody messages us like, my book comes out in 2 weeks, would you talk about it on the podcast before the release? We're booked up for like 4 weeks in advance. Like,
oh my gosh, sometimes more.
Yeah, like
we had somebody message us, I remember back in at the beginning of August, and the soonest slot we could offer was like end of October.
Yeah, like we have to be organised.
And because we're doing interviews, like, and we we like to do like book interview. We've got like, I think we've said this already, but we've got a Laila Rose coming out the 8th of October, is it, or something?
I can't remember.
But we've got a Laila Rose coming out beginning of October. We're going to be doing that in like mid-October, obviously to finish off the Sacred Stone series, which we've already started. And then we've got Kate Golden coming on.
Yeah.
So when we book all these things in, it's like, it just adds up.
Yeah, and like when we know books are releasing that we want to talk about, obviously we plan those in advance to give us time to read and then record and then get the episode out. So yeah, we're busy girlies at the moment.
So the author spotlight was a 2025 plan.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Comes to something when I'm pulling you back off the tangent.
It was a 2025 goal, and we were like, maybe like 6 people will apply, and then we'll do one every other month. We had 3 years worth of applications.
Yeah, 3 years worth of applications.
So to be fair and to not like prejudge anybody or like show any bias, we put everything into a name generator.
Yeah.
We generated 14.
Yeah, we ended up going with 14 because we ended up deciding, basically then we had a business meeting.
Yes.
Very hungover in your house.
Yes.
While eating a lovely sausage sandwich that Steve had very kindly made us. But we were just like, how we can't spend 3 years, like it's just not feasible.
And how can we say to an author, we'll review that in 2027 because like they're like, well, my book's going to be 3 years old then, like it doesn't really make sense.
So we put our little brains together and decided that the best way to attack it was to do, in theory, there was no reason why both of us needed to read it.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of these episodes is that they're like recommendation episodes. They're spoiler free.
Yes.
So in reality, there's actually no reason for both of us to read it.
Yep.
So we decided there's 2 of us, we'll divide and conquer, and we'll do 2 episodes a month. One with Sam, one with me.
Yeah.
So both of us will still be in the episode, but basically the structure is now going to be one of us reads it and tells the other one about the book. Spoiler free, like a mini book review.
Yeah.
And that meant that we could do basically more. We decided on 14 was the even number.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't really know where 14 came from.
I think we drew too many names. Like, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what we did.
Yeah, but that's how we did it fairly. And then we put the 14 into a name generator and then made a list for B and a list for Sam. So there was, again, no bias on who was reading what.
Yeah,
and like,
random.
It's all completely random and we're trying to be as fair as possible.
Yeah, so we've now basically got 2 books a month coming out. So one will be the beginning of the month, one will be the end of the month. I'm the beginning, Sam's the end, and we're going to do that until March. Probably in like the New Year-ish time, early March time, we'll reopen the submissions. Yeah. We are going to roll some over from previous. So
if people want to be included again, we've said to authors, if you want to be removed from the list, then we'll remove you.
Yes. Yeah, we need to do more planning. We just got
I've requested a business meeting today.
We just got business meeting comes out of our asses.
I put in a request to Bethan today saying, can we have a business meeting this week?
And
I sent her an agenda.
At this point, it makes more sense when you move into your new house that I just come live with you. It just makes sense now. The amount of times we have to speak about things. I feel like we have a business meeting. It used to be we have a business meeting, it'd sort us for weeks. Now it's like we have one. We could genuinely have one a week, and we'd
Yeah.
have enough to talk about. That's how much goes on.
Yeah. This is becoming more than a hobby.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Oh, good. Okay. What are you currently reading? Well, I know what you're currently reading, but tell everyone what you're currently reading.
I'm currently reading The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. This has been on my Kindle. When I say for months, I mean like possibly even since January.
Yeah, because I got the arc of the Ever Queen in January, and I definitely know that you
Yeah.
added it to the TBR then. So it's probably been nearly a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I finished When the Stars Alight, which is what we're going to talk about today. And book 2 wasn't out yet. We Will Devour the Night. And I was like, oh, I need something now for in between because because I'm working full time in the process of moving and packing, like my little brain is a bit upset in the evenings. So I like to read and calm myself down before bed. So I needed something immediately after When the Stars Alight. And I was just going through my library on my Kindle and I was like, I'm sure The Ever King is about pirates. And I was like, I don't know why. I'm fancying a pirate romance. So that's what I've started. And I started it on Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say Saturday.
And today's Monday. And I'm 60% through. It's amazing.
They are 10/10s. They're quick. They're so enjoyable. They're like romanticy to a T. Fae, pirates, Vikings.
The tension
Yeah.
has got me kicking my legs and twirling my hair like, oh my God.
I was very lucky to get the arc of the second book of that. It was the first
Wild.
arc I ever applied for. When it came through, my jaw was literally on the floor.
I remember you doing it. And I remember you saying like, oh, it's a book 2 arc, so I've got to quickly read book 1.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh my God, Sam, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think like at that point, I was still so deep in the TBR.
Yeah,
there was like, it just went
too
out
much.
my brain. And then, I was literally looking through my Kindle library and I was like, L.J. Andrews, hello.
Yeah. Well, and she has like lots of other books. There's about 9 books. This is actually
I didn't know this when you said that to me. So I thought The Ever King was number 1, The Ever Queen was number 2.
Well, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, when you said there's loads of books in the same world, I was like, I got some catching up to do.
Yeah, I've only read 3 of her main series. The first 3 because they're all kind of in 3s. So like the first 3 is a trilogy that follows, which is Livia's parents, Valen and Elise. Then there's a next 3 which I didn't read, and then another 3 that follows other people. But the family tree, which you'll get more into in book 2, is huge. So like you won't get confused when you get to book 2 because you just learn about these people. But obviously, if you'd have read the other books, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so and so, so and so. But then obviously, Ever King and Ever Queen follow their daughter Livia. The first 9 books are like, I think they're just Viking and Fae, maybe some like assassin, no pirate. But they're so easily read, like enjoyable, just enough like world building to keep you going. Oh.
Well, you know that I appreciate good dialogue between characters. It's something I say to you all the time. If I'm not vibing with like the way characters speak to each other, I'm just like, doesn't feel real. The dialogue between Eric and Livia is exceptional. I am so tense reading this book.
We're much more character people than we are plot people.
Yeah, definitely.
And what I will say, like, I really enjoyed the first 3. I only ever read the first 3. But I will say that the Ever King and Ever Queen are like a they're not, by no means are her first books not good. They're really enjoyable. But it was like there's some special sauce in that Ever King and Ever Queen. And there's a spin-off now, which is the Miss Thief, which is another one of the characters that comes into they're kind of in the first book, but they come into the second book a bit more. When the second book finishes, you'll understand the like storyline isn't wrapped up. I think that's just a standalone.
Ooh.
But I really want to read that. It just came out like not that long ago.
Yeah, well, I said to you, didn't I? I was like, oh, book 3's coming. And you were like, book 3's here.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I haven't got a bloody clue anymore.
But the Ever King and Ever Queen is a duology, done and dusted. You could just read that and that's done. That's what I love about her books. Is like they are all interconnected, but you don't have to read everything. It's a bit like Lee Bardugo.
Yes.
Which we love. Love that you can just pick up.
Yeah.
And if you fancy a bit more, you fancy a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you that you're reading it. Because
once I finish The Ever King, I need to read We Will Devour the Night for the podcast.
We both do, yeah.
And I need to read my book, my author spotlight book.
You got till the end of the month for that,
Yeah.
though.
So I'm gonna have
And
to.
you need to read A Reign of Rose in between that.
And I need to move house.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
To be fair, we said this. So you've got a week to read We Will Devour the Night.
It'll be fine.
Which is plenty of time.
Yeah.
I read the other one, which is bigger in
I got no
3
plans
days.
the weekend. I'll just sit in my house reading.
And then you've got, I don't know when, I wouldn't stress about your October book because you've got ages for that.
I don't think it's that big either.
Oh, she's pretty chunky.
Ooh.
Metal Slinger.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It's up there. Not massive, but like, she's only a little bit skinnier than Quicksilver.
Yikes.
That's your reading schedule.
Ha 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 ha.
You've got to the end of October to do that.
Yeah. That's fine.
Aside from just finishing When the Stars Alight, obviously for today's episode.
Yes.
I got into a real reading slump recently.
Yeah.
So we absolutely smashed through the Flesh and Fire Jennifer L. Armentrout series in August. We both read the first 3, like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
And then I went straight into the 4th because it just come out, and I've basically stopped to 60%. I've not gone back to it. I'm not going to DNF it because there's no way I can DNF a Jennifer L. Armentrout book. Like, I just can't.
No, not, and especially not when we're anticipating the next From Blood and Ash, like, so heavily.
And that this is the last in the Flesh and Fire series. Like, I will finish it, but I will say, unfortunately, that series fell victim to very much From Blood and Ash, where it's like the first couple are like, wow, 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 and they start to lose their, like, momentum.
Yeah, you become immune to the crack it's laced with.
Yeah, so you... No, it's not that. So, like, you said it about book 3, there was just too much faffing. There was too much nothing. And then, basically, like, 60% of book 4 has been the exact same. I'm at 60-something%, and it's literally just started kicking off.
Yeah.
So I did a bit of audio booking in between that,
yes,
Stolen Air, and I did The Prisoner's Throne.
Yes.
Thoroughly enjoyed both of those. And then, yeah, I'm a bit like, what am I really reading? Technically, like, nothing right now. I tried to pick back up from Born of Blood and Ash, or whatever it's bloody called. I just was like, nah, I read 1 page of it and I was like, I'm not in the headspace for this. So we're going to be doing We Will Devour the Night for the next episode. So I'm just going to start that tonight. I've got it on my Kindle. But that's what I'm currently reading, which is nothing, basically, because Flesh and Fire. Flesh and Fire. Flesh and Fire. Honestly put me in a reading slump.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think.
After Flesh and Fire, the 3rd book, I had a bloody whale of a time.
Oh, you read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, didn't you?
I did. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, what were you talking about?
The Trial of the Sun King.
Did you read all 3?
Yes.
Oh, you nutter, I forgot that.
Yeah, I read all 3 back to back in like 3 days.
The 4th one's out though, isn't it?
No.
Oh no, Caitlin and Grace were arc reading.
Yeah, and I've looked everywhere for it. Because Caitlin said, look on, what's it called?
NetGalley?
Yes.
To see if you can get the arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Oh, she's probably taken it down by now.
So I'm eagerly awaiting
When
book
does
4.
it come out?
I don't know. And I don't know when. Just look at my reading schedule. I'm not going to fucking read it anytime soon, am I?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. My reading schedule's really tight now.
But they gave me Akata.
Yeah, lots of people have said that.
I really enjoyed. Well, I read 3 books in 3 days. And yeah, I read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe.
Yeah, you read. Sorry, this episode's going to be like 9.5 hours long.
We've been 20 minutes.
Yeah,
already.
I know. We haven't done this in a while. We just need to get it out of our system. Do you remember on TikTok Shop, Pumpkin Spice Sprayed Edge edition was like everywhere?
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know what? I might go treat myself to that, right? Nowhere to be seen. So it's not on TikTok Shop anymore. I was like, okay, fine. Went on Vinted. Why was somebody selling one for £65? They were like £12 on TikTok Shop.
That's criminal.
They're not like a special edition.
No.
And it was just a sprayed edge version of the hardback. 65 of the King's sterling pounds.
No, thank you. But I read that in a day. It was just a little palate cleanser for me.
Is it spooky? No spooky.
No. Spicy.
But no dragons or witches. Real people.
No, yeah, real people.
Real life.
Yeah, she's from Boston and she moves to this like little town called, I can't remember.
Pumpkin Spice.
No, Dream Valley or something.
A bit like Gilmore Girls with spice.
Yeah,
Lovely.
Yeah, it was spicy, and I enjoyed it.
Is it a standalone, or do you have to read the sequels?
It's a standalone in book 2 doesn't follow the same 2 characters, but you meet the characters of book 2 in book 1,
Okay.
and then the characters of book 3. So it's like 4 separate books, but all about the same people in the same town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get you.
But yeah, that was a little palate cleanser.
Nice. Yeah, so I've got that's the thing, I say I'm not reading anything, but because I need to do Wheels of Have the Night for next week, then I need to read A Vermilion Curse, which is my first book on the author spotlight for the beginning of October.
Yeah.
Then in that time, A Reign of Rose will have come out, and that
we need
I
to
will
read it because we're doing an episode on it.
Yeah, but also I'll be absolutely like smashing that out in 24 hours because the last one it was so funny the last time we did it. We both downloaded it on like the Wednesday morning. We were like, we were, I don't think we were planning to do an episode for ages on it, and we were like, oh, we're not going to rush, and we literally both read it in like 48 hours.
It was as if it was a race.
Literally, we were just like, oh no, you went away and I did it really quickly because you were in Edinburgh, and then you came back and you were like, right, and read it in like a day.
You'd swear like we had a bet on or something, like of who could read it faster.
It was like I started and it was like, oh my god, I need to it was just so good.
Yeah.
I think class. A Reign of Rose is going to be my read of the year.
I'm so excited. So, I mean, based on the snippet she shared on Instagram, I'm literally like gasping and passing out. So we'll see.
Honestly, I was thinking the day I might go get a Sacred Stones tattoo because that's how much I love it.
What would you have?
Like the 3 stones. You know, on the front covers, there's the onyx, there's the peridot, there's the 3 of them.
Ooh,
that are quite cool.
Yeah.
Maybe surprise Kate on the interview. Like, hi Kate,
look at my tattoo.
My tattoo, a few books. I don't know if she'd be weirded out by that.
Right.
So
after that,
we will. I was going to say We Will Devour the Night again. Why am I obsessed with saying the second book? No. It's not the book.
After that very, very long intro.
Yeah, it might not have been long for you, but it was long for us.
The real reason we are here is to talk about When the Stars Alight by Camilla Andrew.
Yeah.
So this was the first ever PR box we got sent.
Yeah, that's how we came about Camilla, was via social media.
Yeah.
And she very kindly sent us a PR package with special edition copies. They were the 1-year anniversary copies of When the Stars Alight.
Yes.
And yeah, she sent them over to us, which was really kind. And honestly, we were blown away. We bang on this drum all the time.
Stunning. And not just the dust jacket.
Everything about it.
Sometimes you get a nice dust jacket, you take it off and the book's plain underneath, which is fine, but it's like, ugh. And I take my dust jackets off to read.
Yeah, me too.
No, the hardback is as beautiful as the dust jacket. And they're different, which I love.
Yeah, and also now, since obviously we received them, we're obsessed. I've been following her, and then we decided we do want to do these for the podcast, and this is us doing them. And since then, I pre-ordered the second book and one of the novellas, and that came last week for me. Every single thing you receive from her, right, is immaculate. She puts so much effort into every single inch of everything she does. So the what's it called, not a wallet,
yeah, like
envelope,
a postage padded envelope,
came for the second book and the novella, which came to me last week. Even that is a customized envelope. She's so kind. She always puts fan art in, stickers in. She's such a nice person, puts so many lovely things in. We had one of our followers, I think it was on a TikTok live, because we bang this. It's literally, we just want to show how beautiful it is. We were showing the special edition on one of our TikTok lives, and one of our followers messaged us I really want that. I think she was based in Norway, was it?
Yes.
And I was look, let me message Camilla Andrew and see if she can post. And she was yeah, no problem. Added Norway to my, because she sells everything through her own hip store. You can get her on Kindle, but all her special editions paperbacks all come from her pay hip. She does it all herself, as in sources it all herself, posts it. And yeah, so she added Norway and sent a special edition to one of our listeners in Norway.
Yeah, and she messaged us the other day to say it had arrived and that she was going to try and read along with us, because this is the first book really that we've done on Fable. We put Powerful on Fable, but we both already read it.
Yeah.
So the read along was for everybody else, and we didn't really make comments as we were going through because we'd already read the book.
Yes.
So this is the first one where we've actually made comments as we've been reading the book and giving our thoughts on each chapter. So this was our first like proper fable book.
Yeah, so we haven't actually mentioned Fable yet on an episode because we've been backlogged on pre-records. But again, somebody on a live mentioned it to us. Was it Lucy?
Yeah,
Maybe Victoria? I can't remember. I'm really sorry. Somebody on a live mentioned it to us. Do you guys use Fable? And we were like, never heard of it.
What?
What? Because we're old. But basically, it's kind of like Goodreads, but better, honestly.
Yeah.
It can link to your Goodreads as well, which is really handy that you don't have to update like multiple apps.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like a book club review app. And what it allows us to do is create a Podsmut and Wingspan book club. And we then post on there the books we're reading for the podcast so you can actually read along.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the first one. Obviously, we've now updated it to We Will Devour the Night because that's coming next week.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, it will be updated to A Reign of Rose.
Yeah.
So if you go on our links on our link tree, the Fable link is there. It's everywhere. If it isn't, DM us and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that about this.
Yeah.
Is being able to like chat along with each other.
And
because
chapter by chapter, because sometimes like I'll text you like, oh, how much have you read? And you'll be like, oh, I'm halfway through. And I'm like, oh, I can't remember what happens in every chapter. So I can't talk to you about like specific things in case you're not there yet. Whereas, you know, with this, you can literally finish a chapter. I was literally finishing a chapter, going straight into Fable, writing my thoughts, and then starting the next chapter. So it's nice that you can like attribute your thoughts to each individual chapter rather than just being like, oh, I've read a quarter of the book and this is what I think.
Yeah, so basically Fable creates like a chat for every chapter.
Amazing.
So you don't obviously get any spoilers. You're only clicking on the chapters you've seen. And then it has like a lobby, which is just our generic feed where we just post all our nonsense. And then like a summary, like a closeout.
Oh, nonsense.
All our nonsense. Where both of us did like a... Oh, where both of us...
read yours.
Oh, I thought mine was... It wasn't that funny. But yeah, it was just really nice to be able to, because you were ahead of me, and it was so enjoyable to be able to go in and like see what you'd said. I loved it.
Oh, it's because you've updated it, so I can't see it.
When the Stars Alight.
Yeah.
Is the name of this book.
Yeah. And our FMC is Laila.
Yeah, so I will say, like, because we don't do these blow by blow. If you're new here, welcome. We don't do our book reviews blow by blow. We just kind of like chat. It took a good 20-30% for me to get into this.
I agree.
The first 20 or 30%, I had a perception of what this book was going to be.
Yep.
And actually, kind of once you got through the whole like setup, and she was actually in Montios.
Yeah. No, Montios is Kindred's Curse. Mortos, I thought it was.
Mortos. When she gets to like where the Acaso are from.
Yeah.
Then it was like did a 180 and I was like, shit, here we go. It was not it was not what I expected from the first 20%. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I want from like a romantasy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. The thing is, right, it's a big book.
Yeah.
A lot happens. In theory, it could be like you could finish this book and that be that.
Yeah.
Because the story kind of wraps up.
Yeah.
Did I think that at times there was too much in it? Potentially, but also no, because I like that it wraps up in one. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like, I'm really conflicted with it because I'm like, would I have kept reading if it had finished with like her and Dominus on the rocks, and then book 2 was all the Daria stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very like conflicted with it.
It was a bit of a recent Tam situation, wasn't it?
Which I was fucking gobsmacked. I
Same.
text you like I was, oh my gosh, I just like, because I'd seen the fan arts, like she sent us lots of fan art of the main male character, but obviously because they're brothers, they look the same, so you just don't think about it. And then I was like, I've come to the realization that like Dominus is not the love interest. He's not the love interest. I loved it.
Yeah.
I love a flip flop.
Didn't love Dominus though.
Oh, well, in the beginning I did.
Yeah.
Like him when
he drew her,
and when they're in like the shed and he's like looking after her, lovely
snowball fights.
But then he goes downhill real quick. As soon as I put it in the Fable group. As soon as he calls that woman a bitch, do you remember when like they to like the wolf people? You know, after her light shields find her in the cabin with him.
Yeah.
And they go to like a local tavern to get a carriage to the Citadel. The wolf woman behind the bar he says to her, like, I want to buy your carriage and your horse or whatever. And she's like, okay. And then he says something, bitch. And he calls her a bitch. And Layla's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, that's weird. As soon as he did that, I was like, red fucking flag.
And like, he sort of forced himself on her as well.
Well, what you want about the carriage scene? It's so I had accidentally opened the wrong chapter on Fable and seen that you put, woo, are we gonna get a carriage scene? And I quickly closed it and I was like, shit. And then I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for a carriage bang. Like, we love a carriage bang. Big fans of that, like, setup. And then I started reading it and I was like, oh.
Well, I think I commented again, like,
yeah, you did.
Yikes, didn't expect that.
Rough.
Yeah, he's not nice to her.
He is a red flag.
Massive red flag.
And then at that point I was like, oh my gosh. Because in the beginning, when we get in all these Darius chapters, I was like, why the fuck are we getting all these Darius chapters?
Yeah,
why are we not getting any Dominus chapters? Like, I don't understand. And then it starts to click in my head, like, oh my fucking god, this is my flip-flop to Darius.
How lush, though, was the Darius blowjob fade to black?
All his sex scenes were wonderful.
Yeah.
He's a smooth bastard and I love it.
But that fade to black, I was like, ooh.
That was one of the council members, wasn't it?
Yeah, Delanus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot.
And
then he obviously, you don't actually get, it's not a fade to black, but then in another scene he's shagging like was it a witch?
Yeah, I think
someone else. Like, was she like Veronica or something like that? I don't know.
I can't remember.
But that was lovely.
Yeah.
Why it didn't click to me that this was going to be like a flip-flop situation, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gobsmacked, but I loved it.
I loved it.
So, yeah, once this got going, it got going and I was hooked and I couldn't put it down.
When Darius, I think I might have even put it in my Fable comments, when the carriage blows up.
Oh, I'd forgotten, see, when that happened, I'd forgotten that the Rex had told him, you need to kill her. So I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, why is he being so like funny? And then I was like, oh my fucking god, it was him who did it.
Well, I was like, no, it wasn't him. I was convinced it wasn't him. I was like, I was like, he's going to be framed for it and it's going to be somebody else. And then, well, within the next chapter, it's like, yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes back to where she's from.
Solterra?
Yeah.
Saltaire?
Yeah. And we get a very different dynamic then when he's back in the tower, in his ivory tower.
I think he's more himself.
Yeah.
You know, are you about Dominus or Darius?
Darius.
Yeah, I feel like Darius is quite enjoys being in Saltaire.
Yeah, but were you not thinking the whole time
he was going to double cross her?
No.
Oh.
Were you not thinking the whole time that he had that poor doctor trapped behind his bookcase? Like, as much as I was like, sort of like, oh, okay, I'm enjoying.
Oh, back in the other country.
As much as I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying like the relationship developing. I couldn't forget that he'd like mutilated that woman, and she was like hidden behind his bookcase.
Well, I thought that because I like, not a spoiler, but I'd read the like summary for book 2, so I knew that like how book 2 starts. So I sort of knew how this book was going to end.
Yeah.
I thought that like Layla would find out about her and that's why she'd break it off.
Well, she came to her in a dream, didn't she?
Well, yeah, earlier on, when she was living in
Mortos. I'm sure it's Mortos. I don't know.
Yeah. So it was all, I know what you mean. It was always like looming over my head that whole time. But I thought the whole time he was in Saltaire, that he was gonna like, he was almost being like too nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's gonna double cross her. I think he's gonna break her heart. He obviously doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think he was almost happier there. I think he enjoys it more.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm never gonna get on board with him.
Oh, really?
No, he mutilated that woman. He ate Hannah. So he ate her tongue.
Oh, yeah,
that's how he can speak fluent Saltarian.
Oh, yeah.
And then keeps the other one as a little pet.
But we love a morally grey man.
That is not morally grey.
Rhysand does bad things.
Mutilates people and keeps them as pets.
Castiel Dania punches someone's heart out. But not like innocents. Bad people.
Yeah,
he does it to innocents.
She's just a little scientist.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how that develops. You know, the woman that she was working alongside.
Oh, she's mad.
Mad. Erica, is it? Or is Erica
Dr. Ix. Ixra, innit?
Yeah, but we get their first names, don't we?
Oh, I don't remember their first name.
You literally finished it today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't get on board with him because it's always in the back of my mind of what
Oh.
he did to that poor doctor.
Oh, I can get on board. I'm on board. I'm so on board. Have you seen my Darius art that she sent me? Oh, it's a big woof. Like sitting on his like throne of skeletons with like an open chest. Like he's hot. I'm on board. I don't care. I think he's hot. I bang him.
Well, poor Laila, they're both too big for her.
Oh yeah, no, not in the end.
No,
It's just
but
Darius was too. Dominus was too rough. Darius is quite gentle. She enjoys it in the end.
When she's just riding his thigh.
Do you know what? One of the comments I had in my head to talk about today was like it was actually really refreshing smut.
Yeah.
And very like fluid.
Yeah.
Everyone's very fluid. And I actually like when I say enjoyed, not that's the wrong word, but like it was like nice to almost see like because a lot of people, we all talk about this in the ACOTAR universe, not that it's just about ACOTAR, but people say like it concerns people the size of the Bat Boys appendages. It was actually kind of like refreshing for somebody to be like, whoa, that can't just like,
yeah, that doesn't work with that.
No, we need to take our time. It took like multiple
yeah
occasions for it to like happen. I actually kind of thought I thought the smut was very realistic.
And like, not obviously the Dominus one, because like you said, he was quite rough with her, but later it's almost like quite poetic.
It's the classiest smut I've ever read in my life.
Well, this is the thing. Camilla writes in such like a poetic, beautiful way that even reading smut, it's the difference between like fucking someone and making love to somebody.
Yeah.
Her writing.
Yeah.
Like that was too gentle and too beautiful to be like anything other than making love.
And when I first started reading this and kind of saw how, like you said, intelligent, if that's the word, her writing style is very different to anything we've ever read. I was a bit like, oh,
here we go.
Don't know if I'm going to get through this. I will say, could I read book after book after book like it? Probably not. It's almost like it's like,
too good.
I'm here and her writing is up here. I'm just not intelligent enough.
Yeah, no, I agree about myself, not about
you.
I'm not saying you're not intelligent, but I agree about myself. Like,
but every now and then, 100%. Now I've read that, would I buy? Like, we're going to read the second one. I bought the prequel, the novella. Like, if she released more, I will always go back to it because I think what she does very well is it's very finely balanced. It's just intelligent enough, but not too much that like, you just can't understand it.
Yeah, you can follow the plot. Like, even though like I had to Google some words because I was like, I don't actually know what that is. It's not like, oh my god, this is so confusing that I don't know what's going on and like twists and turns. The only thing I will say, a lot of D names, because after that Delanus, and then we're talking about Darius, and I was like, was Delanus the brother or was Darius? And I was so fucking confused in the beginning.
I don't ever do well with this, right? For me, there cannot be two characters with the same first letter, and I know that's a really difficult thing, but for me, I attribute people by first letters.
Yeah.
There was a lot of L's, there was a lot of D's. I was really... Eventually, I got the hang of it.
Yeah.
But I was a bit like... don't know who's who. I say one good thing, when we read We Will Devour the Night now, we're going to read this on our Kindles, and Kindle you can highlight the word and just click search. You don't have to like that's one thing, whereas obviously because we were reading the hardbacks I had to go on my phone, Google
back,
but there were some really big words, but it's almost sometimes you need a palate cleanser like you said about pumpkin spice. This is almost kind of like the other way, like it's quite like it's a bit of a treat in it. Like it's a bit of like an indulgence read.
Absolutely.
And could I read like one after one after one? No, probably not. But that's just because my brain is not sharp enough.
Yeah.
But I will 100% read more from her. Like,
oh my god,
the balance of the way she writes her prose versus the story, like the enemies to lovers, the like witch brother. Like there was so many wonderful romantic-y tropes in it. Like light and dark magic, like evil and good, like... Oh.
Her writing was almost like whimsical as well.
Yeah.
Like, did it make you absolutely starving?
I said this in one of my comments.
The pastries?
No. If I hear about poached lobster one more fucking time, I was Hank fucking Marvin the whole way through.
Honestly, when she was having breakfast and like her mother was like making faces at her because she was getting pastry crumbs all over her, I was like, give me the pastries.
So when I started reading this, coincidentally, because I did the first like 5 chapters ages ago,
Yeah.
and then we had to break because we had other stuff, and then I picked it back up again. When I did the first like 5 chapters, I coincidentally bought like a really bougie cake from a local like Italian or French patisserie, and was eating it at the same time. Was like, wow, this is perfect because
Yeah.
they're talking about pastries and I'm eating one. And then this weekend, I bought myself 4 donuts from a really bougie donut place, which normally would last me like a week, right? I bought them Saturday, today's Monday, and I finished them last night. So it took me 24 hours to eat 4 gigantic donuts because I was reading this book.
Oh my god, no, it made me so hungry. Every morning when it was a breakfast scene, I was starving.
Every time they sat down to eat, I was like, even the ones in the Ocaso country, I know it was supposed to be a bit more like, but when they were talking about like venison, I was like, I'm fucking. It all sounds so nice. I did see a few Goodreads reviews when I was reading them after the fact that a lot of people's sort of like main issue with this is sometimes there's like too much kind of like, not world building, but like fluff. So like too much detail around food, too much detail, which I can see. But when you kind of like get into the rhythm of her writing, and I think, because I think it was beneficial that I read this in almost like one weekend.
Yeah.
If I were to pick it up and put it down, I think I would struggle to like
get back into the flow of things.
But when you're in that world and you're reading in big segments, the last third of it, I literally just like was like bang, 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 bang.
I was like, oh, take me another couple of days to finish this properly. Same evening, it was gone. I was like, oh.
So good.
And I always get really sad when I finish a book. I don't know if you do as well.
Oh, yeah.
I close a book and I'm like,
I was sad finishing this book.
Miss my friends.
Yeah, it was so enjoyable. And then I kind of told you the other day about what the summary of book 2 is. So again, this isn't a spoiler for book 2 because we're going to be doing book 2 next week. But book 2 is set 20 years after the end of book 1. So obviously, you wouldn't have listened this far if you weren't into spoilers or had read this book. But book 1 ends with like Darius goes back to his kingdom. Layla's staying where she is. Now, they leave on really like amicable terms.
Yeah.
Like they're deeply in love with each other.
Oh my god, yeah.
She's daydreaming on her holly bobs all about him. Having wet dreams, quite frankly, all about him. He's killing and murdering people, but also just wants her as queen. I think he probably wouldn't be so murderous had she gone back with him. I don't think he would have.
But I just think, like, I don't know what's going to happen in book 2, obviously, but if he's pursuing her, she's inevitably going to find out about Dr. Hurricane or whatever.
But why is it taking 20 years for them to like?
Yeah, that's true. What's happened?
This is why I'm worried. I'm really worried.
I'm excited.
I think the Sanguine Sorceress, which is the prequel, don't quote me, and Camilla, if you listen to this and I'm saying it wrong, I'm really sorry, but I think the prequel might be about Dominus's. No, I think it might be about Darius's mother.
That's interesting.
I read the blurb really quickly. It might not be, and everyone might be listening to this, and I might be like, no, that's not who it's about. But I don't know why something says to me it might be about that.
Oh, that's exciting.
But
what Camilla also did really well, because obviously there was like the tension between Layla and her mother. Then like the love interest, which I loved seeing like that side of her, and then her friendship with Lyra.
We say friendship.
Yeah, they were more than friends.
They were
more
point. Well, because obviously in the beginning it's implied that like Layla does have, like, she obviously said sexual relationships with other people. She does specify up until Dominus that it was only females, and like she's quite keen on, is it sprites? Is like the type of creatures that they are, and Lyra is a sprite. Yeah, I always got the vibe that they had. Yeah, but it's not explicitly said, is it?
I agree.
And I always thought like it was always a bit like, ooh.
I loved her as a side character.
But then in the final scenes when she like puts her drunk back in her bed, like she 100% is in love with her.
Oh my god, absolutely.
And I think she's mad that like she's not wanted. Although I did think...
But I just think they were so fun together, their banter and everything.
They did have lovely banter. I did think that Layla with Lyra's uncle...
That was a weird relationship, wasn't it?
She just, at times... I get that you want complexity to your main characters, right? I really loved because I kind of knew this about the book when I read about it before starting it, that it was much more focused on more of like a political solution as opposed to battles.
Yeah.
You know, like she's not an ailing Catherynne character, which actually is really refreshing.
Yeah.
I will say she's more of like much more of like a peacekeeper, political strategist.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, strategist. So I can't say a strategist.
Strategist.
Yeah.
One of those. And she's much more of like a softer personality.
Yeah, she is.
Some of the times when she'd like burst out sobbing though, or like I think Lyra says it, like that her uncle almost used to like baby her. There were some times where I was like, you need to like, come on.
Yeah. Her uncle sacrificing himself though.
Oh yeah, I was really sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
And obviously Laila was really sad.
Yeah. It was really sad.
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, that ending, it just kept going and going.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, thinking it was going to end.
What more could happen?
My only, like, it's not a critique. My only thing was I did think that her and Darius's, like, goodbye, there was about 5 goodbyes.
Yeah.
It was like, there just needs to be a goodbye now. I did think that Lyra come into him to like come help her because she was a grieving.
Yeah.
I think that should have been like the final. I don't really understand the purpose of him showing up
in the garden
one final time, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, and then we get that final chapter back in Mortos.
Oh, he's lost his head.
Yeah, and he's using Dr. I don't know what her name was. Dr. Harrican, was it? I
think so. Harrican is how you say it.
As now like his weapon. Like this is something, tinkering with people has been like his little pet project for years by the seams of things. He's been trying to like figure out how to wield a weapon, and I'm guessing he's cracked it.
Well, and he made her into like a chimera.
Yeah.
And the only person he kept alive on the council was Darius.
Delanus,
he's Darius. Too many D's. I can't go with it.
All the D.
Delanus.
Yes.
And he basically like poisons all the rest of the council, and then the chimera eats them. Very bloodthirsty.
Very bloodthirsty.
I think he would not have been like that had she have been with. So yeah, there was a lot of really interesting side characters like Dominus's mother.
Yes, Vasilisa,
I think. Yeah, I'd say that's how you'd say it. I know our pronunciation's bad.
Sorry, Camilla.
Yeah, but I do think that her like relationship with her son, really interesting how like, is it Lanius?
Yes.
Rex.
Yeah.
Had Darius like, because he was technically married to Dominus's mother.
Yeah.
Had him at a wedlock and then had Dominus after the fact.
Yeah, Darius is a bastard.
I was gobsmacked that they kind of all end up dead. I really didn't think Dominus would end up dead. I thought he'd be in the next book.
Same. Am I right in saying Lanius kills Vasilisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Dominus is like upset.
Yeah.
Then they fight Lanius together, Dominus and Darius.
Yeah.
And then Darius stabs Dominus.
I was shook.
I didn't think he'd do it.
Same.
I didn't think he'd do it.
I was shook.
He's cold, isn't he?
Fucking ice cold.
But yeah, then we got the other doctor, obviously not the one that was turned into a chimera, Dr. Ixra, goes to join like the other the doctor from the palace's sort of like team.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some big revenge stuff going on there because she is hella mad at like,
so mad. And like the letters of condolences and stuff.
Well, the fact that she wrote this letter of condolence, puts it down to a shipwreck, which obviously wasn't true, and then like basically starts shagging the 2 princes and like parade, and not just like is shagging them over there, like brings them back home and parades them round. like, and like obviously she knows that that's who killed her, because I also think that their relationship was, I think they were more than friends.
Of course.
So it's very sad really when you think about it.
And poor Hannah Otto. Their little
increase the like of all the names, that character's in it for like 5 chapters. You remember her first name and her last name.
Hannah Otto. Yeah.
I'm crying. Yeah. But yeah, I think, but then I thought, when book 2 picks up immediately from where book 1 ends.
Yeah.
But obviously it's been 20 years. And I know they say like, because when Dominus is missing in the ice, that was like 5 years. And Darius says like, it's literally like nothing. It's like a blink of an eye. They live for so long that I don't think 20 years is that long.
It's a long time to plot your revenge though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like why? What's been going on?
Well, read it to find out.
Oh, well, I know. But also, sorry, Darius's love letters. He says, like, at the end, he has, like, stacks and stacks of them. How are you not swooning for this man?
Because he mutilated a nice woman.
Yeah, well, you know.
Turned
They
her
can't all be winners.
We've all got our flaws,
We've all got our vices. Some people chew with their mouth open. Darius mutilates innocent people. Oh, you know?
Oh, who am I to judge? Closing thoughts?
Oh, I didn't think that I wouldn't love it, but you know, I thought this in my brain earlier. This is probably one of the first books that we've read by an author that we both have never read before.
Yes.
I cannot tell you the last time we did that.
No.
Probably Quicksilver. And before that, oh my gosh.
Pencoal, maybe?
Yeah, but yeah, it probably was Pencoal. Yeah. So, like, it's not that I thought that I wasn't going to enjoy this, but you have almost like no...
Yeah, you've got nothing to compare.
You've got nothing to go off, right? And like, it's different when you're reading like a prequel in the From Blood and Ash series, all that. Like, you've got a bit of like a foundation. You know what you're getting. I know you'd never read L.J. Andrews, but like, I'd read it. You kind of knew like it was recommended. But I have to say, once I got into the groove of like Camilla's writing, because it is slightly different to a lot. Not I'm saying the romantasy genre in general, but what we read in romantasy. Yeah. Once you get used to her style of writing, I ate this up.
Yeah, same.
Devoured it.
Same.
The pun. Buzzing my tits for book 2.
Yeah, same. I am really excited. I did, like, at times, the book almost, like, unintentionally, of course, like, made me feel stupid because she's clearly so intelligent, and her writing is so intelligent that sometimes I was like, what the fuck is she trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, I'd Google it and I'd realise what the word meant, and I'd be like, oh, that's really poetic, that's really beautiful, the way she's written the sentence.
Yeah.
But like, at times, I don't want to need to Google.
Yeah.
You know?
But do you think now maybe that you've read one book by her, that maybe when you read We'll Devour the Night, because you're a bit more like in her rhythm,
oh my God, yeah.
it'll be more enjoyable. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was I never got to the point where I wanted a DNF.
Oh,
no. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just, it was really poetic. I know I keep using the same word, but like really,
agreed.
Really like beautifully written.
Getting at my one annotation I did today, but there was just one quote that was so nice that I had to annotate this. This is Darius, and he says that he hoped she would choose him ultimately, irrevocably, in the way that no one else ever had.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I think it's implied that Darius's mum has him and then abandons him.
Yeah, she legs it off, yeah.
He's left with his dad, who doesn't want him because he's a bastard.
And beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, like, and his brother stands by and watches him be beaten by his father and doesn't help.
Dominus, in the end, turned out to be such a little fucking bitch, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I just feel like you can sort of understand why Darius is mutilating people, because...
Yeah, see?
No, it doesn't excuse it, B. Like, I had a traumatic childhood, so I killed them. All right, then.
So I sliced up people and stitched them back together. Sorry, the one thing I need to mention before we wrap up or we go to our ending bit, Dominus biting Laila, not the first time, the second time, and then when I had to reread that sentence, not because it was complicated, because I couldn't actually fucking believe the audacity of him. What a prick he turned out to be. I was so like, I kept thinking, oh, actually, he's a bit of a brute, but he's trying. Like, I couldn't believe it. No. What a bastard.
Yeah, that bite was horrible.
He stabs her in the... And then, sorry, Lanius Rex punches her. She gets fucking battered in this book. Sorry, we shouldn't laugh at like someone getting beaten up, but like...
It was because I forgot when you went...
She's her.
I know, poor Laila.
Poor Laila.
She's put through the ringer in this book. But to go back to the point I was trying to make.
Sorry.
Yeah, no wonder Darius ended up the way he did. Nobody's ever wanted him. Nobody's ever fought in his corner. Like, nobody's ever been nice to him or shown him compassion.
So what did you rate it?
I rated it 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, for an indie author, like...
And, like, the first book, we've never read anything by her.
With her style of writing. And
But you definitely read more.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a trilogy. So I think we've got one more to
Ooh,
come.
Exciting.
I give it 4.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Just...
Yeah.
I do agree with you on the like style of writing, but I think once I got into rhythm, I was kind of there. I do think reading on Kindle will help us.
Yeah, I agree.
And I do believe that we will devour the night. You know, now we're going almost like straight into it. We're in that like mindset.
Yeah.
So
next week will be We Will Devour the Night, book 2. Then the week after will be Camilla Andrew.
Yeah.
Then the week after will be Reign of Rose.
I'm so fucking excited.
And then the week after that will be Kate Golden.
The Kate Golden. Like, we've spoken about this on lives. We haven't spoken about it on here. Maybe we have. I don't know, at this point our heads are gone. But like, Kate Golden was the first ever author that said yes to us about coming on the podcast. And just timing wise, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
We kind of thought that maybe it wasn't going to happen because like she's super busy and like had a book to write and, you know.
Yeah.
So we kind of like were at peace with the fact that like, look, she wants to, but it's just not working timing wise. The fact that it's now happening.
Wild.
Like, we wouldn't... I'm probably going to cry on the interview with Kate Golden, to be honest. Because I can't... By no means do I have favourites, right? Everyone we've interviewed is, like, amazing.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to fangirl the hardest over Kate Golden. We are such big Kate Golden fans.
We are.
The day... She's the first author that ever, like, interacted with us. We said this.
And she's a Hosier fan.
Oh, I have so many questions. Her next series is, like, a Hosier-inspired romance. Kate Golden is the only person that I'll read outside of romantasy for.
Ooh.
She's the only person I'll consider a non-fantasy book because I love her that much.
Okay.
So then we got Kate Golden. After that, couldn't tell you.
Business meeting on Thursday to decide.
So,
are we done?
I think we are.
Thanks so much for listening.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Pod of Smut and Wingspan.
See you next week.
Bye.